I'm a little bit in a hurry. I will check once again. Yes, we are in live. Okay, but it's not shown here. Yes, we are live. Okay, perfect. Okay, once again, yes, yeah, okay. The link has helped us. Okay, great. So, once again, good evening, everybody. I'm very happy to see you. It's actually the last session in 2023. And we have very wonderful, speaker from Germany. And I strongly believe that she will share her knowledge, experience with us. So, but before, I would like to give a little bit information about our sessions and speaker. Then I will deliver stage to our lovely speaker, Kathrin. So, welcome once again to our session organized by Green Data Innovators and Orlando Power BI User Meetup groups. So in each session, we learn something new, and I hope and strongly believe that in this session also we will learn a lot of things. And our speaker is going to talk about Power BI service, and I hope the information that she's going to share will be very valuable. And I would like to also give a little information about the session format. After my introduction part, the session, our speaker, Kathrin Borchert, I hope I pronounced her name correctly, will be presenting for next 30 minutes. And after her session, we will have a Q&A session for next 15 minutes. And as I mentioned, as I called, our speaker's name. She is coming from Germany, and her name is Kathrin Borchert. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry if I pronounce his company's name correctly. He is working on behalf of Drive or Drive AG.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And a little bit about Meetup rules. As soon as our session Meetup ends, I will send the YouTube link just for this will be recorded session links, and you will have an opportunity to watch or rewatch the session. And we have Q&A session for 15 minutes. And once again, this session is recording and sharing. Why choose us? Why to attend Green Data Innovators Meetup Group sessions? Because there are some opportunities like our Meetup sessions are supported by Edna, Enterprise DNA. This is New Zealand educational platform. Two people in each month get an opportunity, free access for 1 year. And these people are selected randomly. And also, of course, in every session, as I mentioned earlier, new skills are, people are learning new skills, new technologies, specifically Microsoft technologies. And for Azerbaijani attendees, I have translated 2 books. One of the books is related to financial modeling in Excel. And also the other one is related to Power Query, author of which is Ken Pals and Miguel Escobar. And these books are available in Azerbaijan language, and for attendees of next sessions, they will have an opportunity also to get this book free of charge. And also, attendees of our sessions are getting an opportunity to get discount for Financial Modeling Institute exams. So these are the books about which I have talked a little bit earlier. So here also I would like to give a little bit information. This information about our speakers for next years. Very lovely people, 12 people from different parts of the globe. They are coming, and I hope they will deliver very good, very wonderful sessions in next year. So stay with us. I will be very happy to see you also in next year. And this is my contact email address, my contact number. Of course, this presentation in PDF format will be also shared. So here I would like to end my session, and I would like to deliver stage to lovely Kathrin. So Kathrin, stage is yours. So you may share your screen and go on.
Yeah, one moment. Okay. So now you should able to see my screen, right?
Yes, exactly. I see your screen.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's start. So everyone can ask questions during my sessions. So I like to discuss questions directly if you have one. So you don't have to wait until the end. Please interrupt. Otherwise, maybe I also forgot the answer. Okay, so my session title is a tour through Power BI or Fabric service. So everyone knows, maybe or not. Now we have Fabric with Power BI together in the service, and it's not that Fabric will replace Power BI, so Power BI will be remaining, and Fabric is only an extension to Power BI. So and that's why I would like to show you a bit about it. First, if you want, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on YouTube if you want. I have also my own website where I post some tips and tricks, also on LinkedIn. And yeah, as Iga, hopefully I pronounce it right.
Exactly. Perfect.
I'm working at Drive, and yeah, if you like, follow me. Then, what is our agenda for today for the 30 minutes? So first, a Power BI and Fabric, short introduction. After this, what is a Power BI service from a user and an admin perspective? Because I think both perspectives are very important. The one has to set the guidelines, and the other one has to use it. So that's why I like to show both of the perspectives here. Power BI service tenant settings, what are they? How can you enable or disable them? And monitoring Power BI service, what possibilities do you have to monitor Power BI service or Fabric service? So first, I have my company here, but we can switch through it. You can look on my profile if you want to see more. So first, Microsoft Fabric is cloud only, and it is general available since 1 month. I guess the Ignited was announced that it's now general available. And what is Microsoft Fabric? Fabric combines existing services. Maybe some of you know it already. So we have some services from Azure, like Azure Data Factory, or we have signups in Fabric, and we have, of course, Power BI. And all these services are together on one platform now, so it's seamless, and it's an SaaS, so a software as a service solution, and it's really great, and the possibilities are endless here. So, but today we will only go to Power BI. So, yeah. But if you have questions regarding Fabric or Power BI, please, yeah, raise your hand or your voice, or and I will answer them. So, first, what is Power BI service from a user perspective? Let's see. I have not the Fabric items in this chart here. It's only the Power BI items. So not to confuse you, because this is a different area. So Fabric is more for data transformation, modeling, for also for scientists, and Power BI is, as we know, for the analysts. So this is the part where the user comes in and see what is in Power BI service. First, we have the workspaces, very important. In the workspaces, I have also little learning cards with me, so I can show them also here. But look at the screen, I guess is a bit better. So we have the workspace, and in the workspaces, we have different elements or artifacts, like Microsoft calls them. So we have, for example, the data marts, we have the data flows, and the data sets. They are most of the time for the data. We connect the data there, we model the data there, and then we prepare everything so we can use the data in the reports. So that's what comes on top, the Power BI reports or the paginated reports or workbooks. So you can also use Excel in Power BI. So no joke, you can use Excel really on a data set in Power BI, and you can also do direct analysis in a pivot table, for example. It's really cool. And on top of the reports, we have the dashboard. So if somebody called a report a dashboard by accident, it's not right, because a dashboard can exist of many items from different reports. So there is no special report or something. So you can pick tiles from different reports or from a workbook, even from an Excel workbook, and put this on the dashboard. You can also put videos on the dashboard, or you can put text fields on it, or links to websites or whatever. What you can't do on dashboards is you can't filter. So this is a difference between the report and the dashboard, a very big impact, I think, here, because if you want to make a deeper analysis, you need filters to filter down your data. And this you can only do in reports and not in dashboards. Very, very important here. And on top, if you are in an enterprise company, for example, I would always recommend to use Power Apps, Power BI apps, not the same like Power Apps. So no confusion here. Power BI apps means that you can create an app, like an application, and then you can put in your dashboards, your reports, your paginated reports, and your workbooks, and then you can share it with the whole company. Or you can also create different target groups with Azure Active Directory or Entra ID now. So this is also possible. And if you have, for example, on-premises data, you can, or you have to do, or you have to use data gateway. Otherwise, you can't get fresh data. But I guess most of you are in the cloud, and this is not possible. So,
Kathrin, sorry for interrupting you. If you don't mind, during your session, we can ask question. If you don't mind, or if it's okay, we can ask at the end of the session.
no, we
How would
can
you prefer?
directly do the question.
Yeah, that would be great, because Tami is asking that. Did you say that you can import Excel pivot tables? That was her question.
Not directly. It's not an import. So it's you build a data set in Power BI, and then you can analyze in Excel, and you can publish the Excel in Power BI service. So it's not an import or an export. It's a direct upload to the Power BI service, and then you can play inside Power BI with your Excel worksheet. I can show this later, so my demo comes.
Okay.
Other questions?
Other question, it was related to scheduling data refresh in Power BI service, as you started talking about data gateway, maybe a little bit later. So
Yeah, so caching is another topic. But yeah, okay. Then you can also have the presentation afterwards. So if you want to recap it, I will send you the presentation, and you can share it with the meeting with the meetup
great.
group. Yes. So here are the description of every item, but I guess we don't need to go through everything because I explained it. And yeah, so the next thing is, what is Power BI service from an admin perspective? So if you are an admin, so hopefully in your company is an admin. Otherwise, I would recommend to have one, because you need to set some rules in your Power BI service. For example, there's a button. I know Power BI disabled it by default now, but 2 years ago it was enabled by default, and it called publish to web. So some of you, or maybe one of you, know it, what you can do with it. So you can publish directly your report to the web. And this is not good, because you can find your report then in Google. So you only need the right words, and then you can Google after all publish to web reports from Power BI service. Most of the time, you use this function to publish demo reports for the data story gallery on Power BI blog. But some people I know, also from my customers, is the problem that they don't have a pro license, which you need to share reports and to collaborate. And they use the shortcut with the published web to share reports internally. So they share sensitive data with the whole world. And this is not really good. So, and this is a big problem. So you need some guidelines, you need rules, and you need processes to build up this whole Power BI environment. And you have in the tenant settings over 100 settings you have to go through, and to disable, to enable with a security group or per person or whatever. But you have to go through every point and to make sure that the settings are the right one for your business cases. So first, normally you go to your business, ask what are your use cases, and then you go to the Power BI tenant settings and set the settings after these use cases, because it should fulfill the wishes of the business and not of the IT. So otherwise that doesn't work. Okay, do we have questions?
There is a comment. Anthony says that publishing to web is very dangerous.
Yes,
And
it is.
actually, me and one more person is very interested in the reason. Actually, he answered, what would you add?
Why it is so dangerous?
Yeah, dangerous is publishing reports to web.
Yeah, because you share it with the whole world, right? So you can find it under Google, and your company data, for example, your project amount, sales amount, or whatever is on the public web. I guess this is very dangerous. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on, please.
Then we have what are, for example, some tenant settings here. So one we already discussed, the publish to web thing. And we have also other things like the Microsoft Fabric. So if you want to try Fabric, you have to enable it. And then we have also some help and support function, workspace settings, information protection, also very, very important. If you have Azure information protection in your company, use it in Power BI because it makes your life very easy or much easier. So let's say it like this. You have export and sharing settings, discovery, and so on and so on. So, and there are also some interesting things like Power BI visuals. So you can also if you're in a bigger company, you can set specific custom visuals into the Power BI desktops of your users. So you can put in, for example, Zebra BI. Some of you know it already. It's for financial numbers, or data viz, or whatever. So there are very a few of them in the store. So yeah, take a look. And you see now we have over 100. Now the last count was over 110. This is an older version from last month, I guess. So we have some new developments because of Fabric. So we get some new things like Copilot, and we get some things like One Lake and so on. So these are not so you see here One Lake we have already, but the Copilot thing, for example, is not here. So I have to update my slides later. And how can you enable and disable it? You can go through every subcategory here from your main categories, and then you can enable or disable it. And some settings, you can set a specific security group, which you define in Entra ID or in Azure Active Directory, and put your persons in it who are able to use these specific setting, for example, export to Excel. So maybe you don't want that everyone is able to export to Excel. Then you can put in some people who are allowed to, and then you can put in the security group here. It's very important that it's a security group and not a normal group. There's a difference. So be aware. Do we have questions so far to this setting things?
You touched to, if I'm not mistaken, paginated reports.
Yes.
Just there's a question. Actually, I'm much more interested in the second part of this question. So it says that in what scenarios would you choose a paginated report over an interactive one? So
good question. So if it comes to paginated report, there are only long tables with some parameters, right? So, and if you are, for example, in an insurance company, they need a lot of paper. So, and if you have a list which contains 10 pages, paginated reports are very good to use because you can print all the pages at once. So it's not only the one page you see, for example, in Power BI, because Power BI are limited in this. So you don't get the whole list, for example, table or matrix. So that's why we use the paginated reports. And you can also embed the paginated report as visual in your Power BI report. This is also possible. There's a visual which called paginated reports, and you can put it directly into your Power BI report. And the good thing is the filters in your Power BI report are also you can also use for your paginated report. So it's filtered down. It's like the parameters for a paginated report. Hopefully this answers the question.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions?
I would like to take it's an opportunity and to ask one more question.
Yes.
How do you share your Power BI reports with external users? What way do you follow?
There is a option in the tenant settings which said that you can share or allow external users to use reports, but this has to be enabled. Otherwise, you can't do it. And then you can put the people in your Entra ID or in your Entra service, create a group and put this group into the setting, in the tenant setting, and then they should be able to open the report and to look at it.
But if I'm not mistaken, there was an opportunity to share reports among pro users. For example, just share the link, but now it's not available, right?
To share with a pro, if you are in another company, you have to come in the tenant of the other company. So that's why you need an account there. Otherwise, you can't can't share and see the
perfect.
Things. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then I guess before we come to the monitoring thing, let's take a look into the live Power BI tenant or in the Power BI service. So first, you have to know the address. Very easy. It's app.powerbi.com. Most of you already know this address. If not, try it. It's very cool. If you are in a company which is very open, then maybe you also can create a pro account directly because there are free trials for 60 days and you can use them and play around if you want. Yes, so let's see. This is my start page. So if I come to app.powerbi.com, this is my start page and I see here my recommended reports or elements in this case. So I have here dashboard, I have here reports, and I have here workspace. The next one is the create button. So I can directly create reports in a Power BI service, which I won't recommend because I don't like it. There are some functions in the Power BI desktop which you don't have in the Power BI service, like bookmarks or simple things like, for example, describe fields or other things. So there are some things you can't do in the service. And if you are only focused on Power BI, you can't create the data sets directly here in Power BI. So you need a predefined data set to build your report on top. So if you have no data set, you can't build reports. You can also paste or manually enter the data if you want. I don't recommend this either because it's also not good. And so let's skip this point. Let's go to browse. You see I have many reports, dashboards, and artifacts here. And maybe you see this little diamond here. This means that I have a premium capacity. So you can put under workspaces a specific capacity, which is dedicated. This means that you don't share the capacity with others. So this means that you pay you pay for a dedicated capacity, which is only for you, which also means that the performance is maybe better. So because it's not shared, and of course you can use premium features like scorecards or metrics are now in the pro data marts, for example. This is a pro feature, or Delta loads are also a premium feature, and so on. There's a page where all the premium features are in. Copilot is also a premium feature, of course. And yeah, so this is the browse section, and we have the One Lake Data Hub where you find all your data sets from your company, in which you are also, or on which you are also allowed to build, for example. And you can also categorize your data sets. So you can create domains inside Power BI Service. For example, I have an HR department. I can put all the data sets for HR in this domain, or for finance, and so on. So this is also really cool. Then we have the apps. As I told before, or as I mentioned before, you can build on top of a workspace app to share it with the whole company. And you can put in there, for example, reports, dashboards, and so on. Then we have the metrics. You can create here scorecards. In Germany, they are not very popular, but I heard that it's in US very, very popular. So you can create scorecards on which you can track your sales, for example, or your headcount, or whatever. Then we have the monitoring hub. This is really cool. It's not that long that this exists. So it's since this year, mid of the year, I guess it was. And there you can see, for example, your refresh. So is the status failed, then the refresh is failed. Or is it succeeded? So if my data fresh? Also really cool to see here. Then we have the workspaces, and now let's take a look into my analyze in Excel thing. So now if I have a data set here, for example, from the 20th of July, so this is my DIAD demos. I only put the a date on it, so I know when the DIAD was. And I can see here the analyze in Excel. I can click on it, and it will create a direct link to an Excel workbook now. Then I can open Excel in web. I can also open it directly in the desktop application if I want. Yes, it takes a bit. And then I can say I want it in the desktop app because I like the desktop app more, because it's easier, and you can directly publish it back to the Power BI service. So hopefully you can see everything. Okay, good. So now Windows authentication, yeah, of course. Let's do this. One moment. Okay. No, now it should work. Now I can put in, for example, my categories from my data set, and I have here a revenue. I can put in the revenue as well. And then I see here my accessories, or B shorts, or bike racks, and I see here my numbers. And now I can save my my Excel again and say this is the second version here. So it's important to save it before I can publish it again. And then I can say publish. And now it takes a moment, and I can upload or export the workbook. And then it says, okay, now it's, of course, the demo didn't work as expected, but I have a fallback, of course. So let me show. If I go into my personal workspace, I have some demos here. So you see I have here my Excel element, and if I open it, it takes a moment or two or three. Okay, I hope it will load. During it load, as you see here, we have also the possibilities to pin elements here on the left-hand side. My score, for example, I pinned here before, and my Excel, which is still opened, is also pinned. I can also pin my reports here if I want. So I can also go to my workspace again and open another copy, for example. and say, okay, this one can't be open. Let's take another one. Today is not the demo day, I guess. So do we have questions?
Yes, one question is related to a data flow feature. So it says, how does it contribute to data preparation and transformation in the Power BI ecosystem? This
Data
is a
flows,
question, yeah.
yeah, data flows are very good for transforming data, of course. And the advantage, if it comes to data sets or data flows, I would prefer the data flows, because if one data flow fails, then today is not my demo day. I see. You see. Let's go to the scorecard. So the difference or the advantage of the data flow is that if the data flow crashes, not the whole data set crashes in which the data flow are in. So all the other data flows you have, for example, for your date or for your sales or for your products, are still available in your data set. And if you have only a data set without data flows and one table crashes, the whole data set crashes. So the advantage is here that data flows is stable with the other tables, even if one table is not refreshing, for example. I hope I understand the question right.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I would like to ask one more question.
Yes.
Each of us knows that it's a little bit tough using specifically Power BI to extract big data from
Yes.
different kinds of, say, data sources, right? So for this purpose, data engineers um, offer us, I mean, they make data pipelines for extraction of data, right?
Mhm.
So I'm really trying to understand what they do is called like data pipelines, right? So
Yes.
data engineers, they are making data pipelines to extract data. So from this point of view, what's the difference between data pipelines and, say, data flow? So
That's
I'm always,
same.
just
So,
mixing them.
so of course you can create in a data flow in a pipeline. You have more options, so you can categorize them. You can put more steps in it. And it's it's you can do more, because
Okay.
if it comes to pipelines, it's an Azure Data Factory, and in the Azure Data Factory you can do a lot of stuff of ETL transformation things, and the data flow is a simple Power Query, so you can load the data. Of course, you can do duplicates, references, you can stage, you can group it by, and so on. But it's not the power that a normal Azure Data Factory pipeline has.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions. So maybe I try um, another Excel. If I find another one. The important thing is if it comes to Excel, you have to have a data set which is connected. So if the data set has no refresh or no direct connection to the data source, it's not possible to make analyze in Excel. So that's the problem here, because all my things are import modes at the moment, and I didn't resume my capacity, in which I have some other demos. So that's why I try to find another one, but maybe I can simply switch on my capacity and then we go there. So also interesting thing. So if it comes to capacities, for example, I have an embedded capacity for Power BI and I have a Fabric capacity, which are different things. So if it comes to capacities and you have only a Fabric capacity, and you use Power BI elements, you still need a pro license for Power BI. This is very important. And also, if I have a Power BI capacity, I still need a pro license for Power BI, because the pro license is which makes it possible to share and collaborate. and the capacity underneath, for example, Fabric or the premium capacity, is only the capacity for the workspace in which are your elements. So yeah, this is a different. And yeah, if we have other questions, we can also go through them. During this, I will switch on my capacity. Takes a moment. So do we have other questions? Maybe?
Yeah, one question is about description of the roles in Power BI workspaces for collaboration purpose. So, how can you manage access and permissions within a workspace? I mean, it's related to roles like member, contributor, viewer, and also admin.
Yeah. Okay. So the access things in general, I guess. So of course we have different layers of access. First is the workspace itself. You can go through the workspace and manage the access directly for the workspace, which does not mean that I can also give a permission directly on a data set, for example. This doesn't mean that you need access to the workspace. So if I go, for example, to my data set here, I can manage the permission directly on my data set. So I can give you the permission for the data set, but not for the workspace. So you only see the report and the data set, but not the workspace itself. And then if it comes to apps, you have another security on this as well. So you can put in there also groups which have a specific right to view or to build on the underlying data, for example. And here is, if you go to this, you see here you can have the workspace admin permission and all. This is my account, so but I can also have only the read or reshare permission. I can have contributor, which is the role in the workspace, and so on. So there are a lot of permissions you have here.
Tommy is asking, she says that is the capacity for the size and number of data sets to store? Actually, I didn't get the question, but you may also read from the chat.
Let me see. I have to find the chat. There is a chat. Let me see. I will drag it here. And let me read. So, as capacity for the size and number.
So, what's meant by capacity?
Okay.
What is meant by capacity?
Yeah. So there are different licenses, and that is the thing. So first we have a capacity for a workspace, which you can put under a workspace. So that means premium capacity, Fabric capacity, and then there are user licenses, so that you can share reports, that you can publish them in a workspace, and these are the Pro license, the premium per user license, and these are needed for collaboration. So, and the capacity are only needed to for the performance, for the report, so that the reports are open, that you click on the visuals and the visuals are performing very well. So that's why you need a capacity.
Okay. And I would like also to ask one question. What would you prefer for extraction purpose of data? I mean, would you prefer to join on-premise server or cloud?
It depends on.
It depends on. Okay, I know that it doesn't depend on yourself, but
so yeah, personal preferences would be cloud, but sometimes you can't go into the cloud, so you have maybe to use the on-premises way. And there is also Power BI report server for the on-premises, right? So if you can't go into the cloud, you can still use Power BI report server, which has only 30 or 40% of the functions of the cloud, but it's still good. So if you need an internal reporting tool, it's still a good choice.
Yeah, why I asked this question, sort of interacting here. Actually, once I have joined a local server, even I used my just I just tried to implement, on premises. I mean, Power BI Gateway,
Yeah.
for refresh
Yes.
purpose. So there is a question which is related to this point. It says that what's the Power BI Gateway, and why is it necessary for on-premises data sources,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you set up and configure a gateway? So,
It's very, 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 very simple. So first, you need to download to download the enterprise gateway, not personal gateway. So enterprise gateway is very important. So everyone can use it, and not only yourself. So if it comes again to collaborative things, maybe you want to share a gateway, and that's why we need an enterprise gateway. Then the gateway has to be installed on the server where the data source is. Very important. And the server on which the data source and the gateway is has to be run 24/7. That means it don't shut down, because if you have more than one refresh cycle on a day, the server has to be on, that the data can be refreshed. So otherwise, if the data source is on premises and you have your report in the cloud, the data can't reach the cloud without a gateway. It means that the gateway will push the data, the fresh data, into your report in the cloud.
okay. And Umutvar Yusupov is asking that is there any possibility to get access to Power BI reports with personal email? Yeah, I think, yeah.
You can create subscriptions, if that is a question.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Power BI gives you an opportunity to use Power BI service in pro context. I mean, for 2 months, 60 days, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken,
yes.
using your personal email.
Yes, yes, you can. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a very good
yeah,
question, because there's a free trial. So, but if your company
yeah.
didn't enable it, you can't try it, right? So, but there is a solution from Microsoft directly. I already opened the page. So there is a program called Developer Program. And if you are registering for this developer program, you get your own environment, your own 365 environment, including Power BI, Power Platform. And that also means that you are your own personal administrator, and if you try and testing and everything, the developer program will continue. So every 90 days there is a refresh cycle, and if you are still using it, the cycle will be renewed again or every 90 days. So that means that you can test everything for free. And I like this very much. I have my own 4 environments for testing, on only to test things. And also you can get the Azure credits for the portal for free. So $130, I guess it's for free for 1 month, and every month. So you can play and test with also the Azure functions in the Azure portal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then, can I ask a question, or you would like to
Of
go
course.
on?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
I have only one slide left, and this is the monitoring options. But
Okay.
then we are.
Actually, we have 7 minutes left.
Of course.
So a little bit Power BI's AI capabilities, and
Yeah.
it would be better if you could add something related to Copilot. So
Yeah.
for example, you can talk a little bit about AI visuals like key influencers, so something like this. So what
Yeah,
would
of
you
course I
say?
can do. So I can also talk
Great.
about Copilot, because Copilot is available at the moment. So if you have a F64 capacity for Fabric, you can also test it in your company if it's enabled. Also in Germany, which was 1 week ago not available, but now it is. So if I go, for example, in my Copilot workspace, I have here a little report created by Copilot. And I was a bit disappointed, because it's not that good as I thought. But so it is nice to see that you can create out of the box this report, for example. So I put in my data set, which is important, because otherwise I can't create a report, right? So the data set is still needed, and Copilot can't create your data set. And then you can ask a question like, create me, for example, here, sales based on influences. And then it creates me this nice looking report, which maybe not make sense at all in the moment, but the AI is learning, right? So it takes a bit time that everything is working well. And yeah, so this is one thing you can get here. Also, there are some other visuals like the Q&A visual, which I really like. So let's see if I can create it. Yes, with a double tap on the back, it creates automatically the Q&A, which is also an AI feature. So, and it's here, for example, recommended top sales by country or top states by percentage, so growth percentage. And I click on this one, and then it will suggest me a nice little graph. And I can also say, no, I want this as table, for example. And then it will shows me the top states by growth percentage as table. So this is really cool. I like this feature very much. But this has also be to activated, so enabled, because the data could be used out of your region. In Germany, this is a big fall, so this can't be happen because of Datenschutzbestimmungen in Germany, and so we some of the companies can't use this one. And then we have, of course, the key influencer, which I don't use very often. I use the decomposition tree very often because you can analyze a specific, for example, sales. So if I come to my revenue, I can put in analyze my revenue, and then I can say I would like to analyze it after category, after product, after segment. I can also put colors and whatever in it. And then I can put the little plus here and say, okay, analyze it after the category. And then I can say, oh, urban looks good. Analyze it after the product. And then it will see here all your products and ranking, which product is the best, and so on. So there are a lot of cool stuff here, but I guess we can't cover everything. But yeah, if you have questions regarding this, you can also write me on LinkedIn if it's a special question you can't answer. So my offer to you. Yeah, other questions.
Yeah, I will ask two questions, and also I would like to thank to Anthony for his active participation in chat. And he has a comment say that Q&A does need some setup to work well. For example, you need to add synonyms to each column measure in your report for it to work well. That's perfect. And I think the composition tree he means, tree is also brilliant. That's perfect. I agree with him. So, two questions. One is related to, I know that Power BI service is much more related to sharing a collaboration purpose, right?
Yes.
But whatever we can do in Power BI desktop, we can also do in Power BI service. For example, personally, I prefer working on Power BI desktop than for sharing collaboration purpose, I switch to Power BI service. So from this point of view, what are the minuses of Power BI service in comparison with Power BI desktop? So what can't we do in Power BI service, but we can do it in desktop?
There are a lot of things. And as I mentioned at the beginning, the Power BI desktop is for building purpose. So it's for building reports, and the Power BI service is for consuming reports. So that makes the things totally different, right? So the Power BI desktop is optimized to build and develop reports with, for example, page navigation, bookmarks, tooltips, and so on. And the Power BI service is for the end user to consume the reports, and the users in the service can, for example, set bookmarks, so on their preferred filtering or pages, and they can create subscriptions for their reports so that you can see it every day, or you can put in trigger alerts with how it called, not reflex, so it's data activator now. And yeah, so there is completely different. So you have different use cases here. The one use case is building report, the other is consuming and analyze reports.
Okay, can we write a DAX in Power BI service?
um, yeah, no and yes, because in Fabric you can, but in Power BI you can't. So if we are in Fabric and we're creating a lake house or a warehouse, we can also create a data set and we can create a data model, and there we can also create DAX formulas. But it's not possible in this view now I showed you, so only in the Power BI area, it is not possible.
Yeah. Yes, and last question, probably, how does Power BI integrate with other Microsoft 365 services such as SharePoint and Teams? And uh, but also it would be great if you a little bit talk about Power Pages. If you would, that's it,
Yeah,
and we'll conclude. Yeah.
yeah, of course, of course. So, also how can Power BI be used in SharePoint and the other of the 365 tools? Or, yeah, right. Was this a question?
Yes, how does Power BI integrate with other
Yes.
Microsoft
Okay.
365
Yeah.
services such as SharePoint and
Yeah.
Teams? Yeah.
Power BI can be embedded in SharePoint, for example. You can create a page in SharePoint where you can show a report, a Power BI report, in which you can click. And you can also integrate it in Teams as a tab in your channel, for example. And Power Pages, of course, you can also put a Power BI report in Power Pages, which is like SharePoint. So it's you can build it like SharePoint with drag and drop, and you have also an integrated authentication system in Power Pages, for example, with Google or LinkedIn and so on. And most of the time, Power Pages is used for, so you can use it internally, but I guess most of the people use it for external purpose, so that, for example, the vendor or the manufacturer or some people can go through the page and yeah, see, for example, orders or offers or whatever.
Okay. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess my last slide was about monitoring. So let's go through the slide in the 3 minutes. So how can we monitor the whole thing? So if it comes to Power BI service, we have a lot of elements and a lot of artifacts there, and they need to be monitored, right? So not everybody should be able to create elements or workspaces or whatever. That means you can use, for example, oh, it's German, but I will translate. So where can I get the data? From the REST API. So every data from Power BI can be get by or grabbed by the REST API. There are some commands where you can go to Microsoft page and copy and paste. And then you can grab the data via Postman or via Power BI, Power Query, and so on. So the data extraction could be also over the REST API connector. So there are really cool REST API connectors where are already the functions to grab, for example, all workspaces or all data sets. It's already in these REST API connectors, which is really cool. And then the last thing is, are there templates for my for the monitoring? And of course there are. So Microsoft delivers also some templates for the monitoring. So in my opinion, they are not very good, but they are okay. But everything can be better, right? So let me go into my monitoring workspace. So there is my demo monitoring workspace. Don't save. So I have here some reports which I built by myself with the REST API data. And this is a template from another MVP colleague. And you see here my whole Power BI tenant. So you see I'm the user most of the time because it's my tenant. And I see I have in my A plus workspace, I have here 23 elements. Most of the time I use the data source SQL or normal files. And I can see also my data set workspace. I can see the creation date, the tables which are in my report or in my data set, the data sources. So how many data sources do I have in my data set? 2 or 10, and of course the users, and so on. So there are a lot of cool templates you can use directly. And I would always recommend the Scanner API from Microsoft. So take a look into it if it comes to monitoring, because you can grab all the data from your Power BI tenant with one call. This is really cool. And yeah, so I guess this is, let me share my slide again. So, and of course, I've linked everything in my report, so don't be afraid here. So yeah, that's it. I have a link list here. That's why I will share my slides afterwards, so you can go through it. And thanks for yeah, your attention.
Thank you very much. Let me tell in German, vielen Dank. I hope I pronounced correctly. Ja, vielen Dank für den sehr informativen Vortrag. Arthur Klein, he's our one of active attendees. So thank you very much also.
I have also 2 minutes, 3 minutes left. So if we have some questions to answer, there's no problem.
No. Okay. Why? Yeah. If there's a question, with pleasure, you can ask your question, no problem. But I have one question, if you don't mind. I can ask this question to you. I don't know, it's related to topic or not. A little bit role level security,
Yes.
and we will conclude exactly this time.
Yeah, so the role level security in Power BI.
I mean, yeah.
Fabric.
It says that let me read the question. Sorry, just a minute. Yeah. I will try to find this question. Explain the concept of role level security in Power BI. How can you implement it to restrict data access based on user roles? I know it's a little bit theoretical question.
No, that's no problem. So role level security, it could be a very complex topic, so of course, but there are two ways. There's a static and there's a dynamic role level security you can use, and you implemented it. So you have 2 ways. If it's a direct query, the security will come from your data source, of course. And if you have an import data set, you have to implement the role level security in your report in Power BI Desktop. So this is also one advantage of the Power BI Desktop. You have to put in a DAX formula, which related, for example, to a table on which specific people can see specific items, for example, region north, region west, or something. And then the dataset will publish to the service. And in the service, you can put in the Entra ID roles, and then the people are able to see only their area, because if they are only viewer in the workspace, the email address will go to Entra, will check which region they are able to see, and then it will also show in the report.
So thank you very much. One of our attendees asks you to show the links slide. Actually, you will share, but if you don't mind, please be so kind as to share. So Tammy, you can have a look at the screen. But in my turn, as soon as I get this material from Kathrin, I will also share with you. So once again, I would like to thank everybody. Here I see some messages related to New Year congratulations, and I mean, they thank you, Kathrin, for your wonderful session. So I'm very happy that I closed this year with you. So I'm very happy for this. And in my turn also, I would like to thank everybody who attended all the sessions organized by Green Data Innovators and Orlando Power BI User Meetup Group. So your words, Kathrin, and if you don't mind, then we will close our session. So what would you add at the end?
Thank you for your attention. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and hopefully we will see us next year.
Exactly, we will see you. Most probably we will begin with you,
okay.
Kathrin, in next year. So. And I'm just thinking about what will you wear now at the end of year. You wear horn, something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know how it's called, but let's say what will be in the beginning of new year. So with your permission, I would like to end our session here. So thank you, Merry Christmas, New Year, best of luck. My best wishes for each of you in New Year. I hope everything will be managed, achieved in New Year. So see you in New Year. Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.